Hello YouTube, Eric here, and I'm going to do a video on some Craigslist camping gear that I've scored on the cheap, hoping to inspire some other folks to get out there and look for gear if you want gear. And well, for a lot of us right now, money's tight, and gear is expensive, and assembling an entire kit can be a lot of money. Now, I started looking for extra gear a couple years ago. A lot of the reason was I'm trying to get friends of mine that here in town to come out camping with me and spend an evening watching the Caveman TV, have a beer, and instead of sitting at home watching television programming and being brainwashed. But anyways, a lot of my friends, they're not going to assemble a kit. It's a lot of money. And I started looking for stuff on the cheap so I can say, hey, I've got an extra tent for you, I got an extra bag for you, whatever, come on out. Another thing was I had expensive Gransfors Brooks axes, and friends would say, hey, let me use your axe to get some firewood, and I would cringe and say, ooh, as much as I want you to do firewood prep, I don't want you to screw up my axe. I started thinking, hey, if I have some cheap loaner axes, I get friends to do that firewood work for me and not have to worry about them learning on a Gransfors. So that's kind of where that all is. And by the way, I already tried to record this video just a minute ago and ran out of memory space, so I'm going to try it again. Most of my stuff's all recorded one take. I don't really have much for video or editing skills. That's not the point of my videos. I'm just trying to get some ideas across. Anyways, the pack right in front of you, REI Trucker Wonderland, it's a external frame, 85 liters, from about 1996. I got that for 45 bucks earlier this year. I had been looking for a Kelty Tioga on Craigslist for 2 years. I only saw one of them over that 2 years, and that did not come with a frame, the most important part. I saw some other ads of guys looking for these, not this, but the Kelty Tioga, in case I misspoke a moment ago. So anyways, after 2 years of looking for a Tioga, I couldn't find one. I settled on this Trucker Wonderland, and I like it. I'm not a backpacker, but I do like, wool blankets and tents and stuff, and it's big sleeping pads. It's hard to put that in a normal pack, and I'm also a tall dude, so I, require larger blankets and larger extra clothing and all that stuff, and it's just difficult to carry in a regular pack, and I want to get into the backpacking thing a little bit. Wanted to give this a try, and I like it a lot. I'll probably still pick up a Kelty Tioga at some point, because they still have them at Backcountry Edge. It just seems like a brilliant pack. Earlier this year, looking for tents, and I picked up Eureka Backcountry. This is old school. This is before they even had the Backcountry 1. This is a 2-man size tent, and it's about 5.5 pounds. 15 bucks. But the reason why it was 15 bucks, this was a terrible ad. A lot of my best deals come from terrible ads, or else well, life is a competition. There are other folks out there looking for good deals on Craigslist. If you're not the first one to reply to that ad, someone else is going to get it before you. That ad disappears. This ad, if I remember right, it said Eureka Backyard Country Green Tent. 15 bucks. I knew there was no such thing. I did my Google foo. This is what I thought the tent was. I went and looked at it. It was what I thought it was. Handed them 15 bucks, was on my way. I picked this up to be a loaner tent for other friends of mine, whatever. And I ended up liking it so much. This is a keeper. I'm keeping it. It is the same size, packed, as my Eureka TCOP, but this tent is 1.5 pounds lighter than this. This is a 1-man. This is a 2-man. No vestibules. Not as durable materials. But it's a keeper. I like it. I used two tubes of seam grip that are 7 bucks each, and I bought some MSR stakes. I do have about 45 bucks into this tent. And I don't think there's another tent on the market for less than 150, 200 bucks that I would rather have than this. The color is good too. I like the olive green. So, get that out of the way. Score last week was this MSR kit. This is the MSR Alpine kit. I already have one. I've had this for over 4 years. Didn't need another, but I was picking this up for a friend that wanted it. This kit was $10. And it came with MSR stainless skillet. Now this kit right here is $50. I already own it, and it's a great kit. It's pricey, but it's actually worth it. This tea kettle that is made to nest here, this kettle's $30 alone. Skillet. The skillet's $25. And the whole kit does nest inside the stuff sack, but it did not come with one. I'm gonna give MSR a call, and I'm gonna buy one of these stuff sacks. They'll probably send it to me for $6 or $7 for this. The MSR Alpine stainless plates also nest on top of this. You can fit 2 or 3 of them on top, and it still all fits in the stuff sack. Now this, again, this was $10, and it came with this, included for $10. Open Country brand, which is a Wisconsin company. I believe they make the infamous Moore's pots right here in Wisconsin. I checked out Campmore, and the current version of this is about a pound lighter, which may be better for you. Lighter weight might be better, but my canoe holds 860 pounds, so an extra pound is no problem. Now, the same person that was selling that, the reason why I went over there, they had an ad, terrible ad again, that's why it was a good deal. Let's see, that's coming up. 3 of these 2-inch REI sleeping, I'm sorry, 3 of these 2-inch REI sleeping pads for $25, and 3 sleeping bags were included. The sleeping bags are cheapos, they're probably $60 each, 40-degree summer bag, mummy bags. But they're not terrible, and they seem a little better in Walmart maybe, and they're clean. One of these 3 pads does not hold air, so it's not really 3 for $25. We basically got 2 for $25. It was a terrible ad, terrible picture. They did not name what it was. I thought because of the color they were Thermarest base camps. Why I went and looked at them. Promised myself if they were not Thermarest brand, I was not buying them. Once I realized they were REI brand, also has a good reputation, and they're not cheap, I went ahead and took them. So that deal was $35 that day for 2 sleeping pads, some cheapo sleeping bags, the grid, the MSR, all that. Just this last week, I scored 2 Vietnam era USGI rubberized ponchos. This is 1966 and it has a couple repairs. 1968 and it's basically perfect. $12 for the pair. I think they go for about $30 on eBay each. Blanket. Alright. The red one right there I got for 2 of those for $10 on Craigslist. Locally. It's a former University of Wisconsin professor here in Madison. And they used these for stadium blankets. They didn't use them at home or anything, just used them a couple times a year, stadium blankets at the Wisconsin Badger games. 100% wool. They're very high quality but smaller blankets. The green one there, It's a Hudson Bay I bought myself, not Craigslist. It's there for a size comparison. There's a Hudson Bay 4-point, weighs a little over 6 pounds, nearly 6.5 pounds. The white one next to it, you can barely see, I guess, appears to be the same size. And it is. It's about 4 or 5 inches wider, but the same length. And the reason why it's there is that blanket. I just got that. It's never been used. I paid $30 for it. And it's the lightest, fluffiest wool blanket I've ever had. It says 100% wool right on it. It's a Catham or Chatham, made somewhere on the East Coast. I don't think they make them anymore. Blanket appears to have never been used. And the reason why it's there as a size comparison is that blanket weighs under 3.5 pounds. It is the lightest, fluffiest wool blanket. It is as thick as, well, the white blanket on my bed, that's a Hudson Bay 6-point. And the green one, as I said, that's a Hudson Bay 4-point. It is just as thick as the Hudson Bays. Basically, it seems like the same quality of wool, but it's way lighter, fluffier. I'm thinking probably going to end up being less durable. But I'm really liking that blanket. I slept with it on my bed the last few nights, and I really like it a lot. Wish I could find more of them. And actually, that woman says she has another one that's green. As soon as she can find it, she said she's going to call me. So, there should be another one of those coming. I don't know if it's the same type or what. She said it was closer in color to the Filson jacket I was wearing when I bought that one. So, we'll see what happens with that. A lot of guys looking for axes and hatchets and stuff lately. So, maybe I'll show some of those. Just threw a bunch of gear right here. Talk about these because I want to remind you that, ooh, look at that. Ouch. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm bleeding. Opened me up, and this one's not even fine. I haven't stropped it or even finished that edge up, but okay. Guy had an ad for 2 plumb hatchets for $10 each. And I call him up and say I want them, I'm going to come get them, and I ask him, hey, you got any more? Dig around, see if you can find me more. He says, oh yeah, you know, the possibility I could. So I go out there for these 2 and give him $20 for these 2. This was a house axe. It was basically a 2 1/4 pound head on a hatchet handle for splitting kindling back in the day. Still bleeding. So he had those 2 for me, and I asked him to dig around see if he could find anything else. Well, when I get there, he's got this Swedish one he tells me about. It says made in Sweden. You can barely see Sweden in there. I knew, whoa, that's Wetterlings. How much you want for that? He says, well, if you take those other 2 for 10, I'll give you this one for 5. Well, there's 3 quality hatchets for $25. And I like this one enough. I bought it. Did not come on this handle. The factory handle was very tired. I put this on a regular hardware store handle and wasn't feeling it. I mean, I really like the head a lot. I've got it. This one's way sharper than that one that just opened me up. This is sharper than the Gransvers I've owned. Spent some time on that edge. Anyways, I spent $25 on an actual factory Wetterlings Swedish-made handle because I like this that much. And I currently like this more than the Gransvers Brooks small forest axe I used to own. And I actually got rid of that small forest axe. I like this better than the Gransvers small forest axe. $5 for this head. 25 there. I mean, I got like, with sheath, I got about 40 in with this, I think. Here's another one. I just got this from a local guy here in Verona, just only a couple miles from here. Hand-forged Philadelphia tool. This is a house axe, like that other one was. It's a boy's axe, 2 1/4 pound head on an 18-inch handle for splitting kindling next to your wood stove at home. Needs a little work, but this should be a keeper. This was $7. I didn't negotiate him at all. That's his asking price, $7. Really cool, smart dude, too. Farmer, not a Kool-Aid drinker like the rest of the folks here in Madison, that's for sure. It was a good talk, just chatting with that man. Alright. A little older score, just because I want to mention that sometimes you don't have to buy the whole kit. Let's see what I got here. This was, I guess this was over 2 years ago, so this one was a while ago. Like new condition, it's in the case. I already have one of these. I'm a big Coleman Peak 1 fan, the old vintage stuff. Oh, and I guess I should show this too, just so you guys get an idea how big this is. That's a 40-ounce Coleman Clean canteen. Everybody knows how big those are. Alright, so the guy had a kit, whole camping kit, bunch of good stuff. Bunch of stuff, but most of it was stuff I didn't want. But I could see this in there. He didn't even mention it in the ad, but I could see it in the back corner. And I asked him if he'd be willing to just sell this for $30. And he said, sure. He's about an hour away. But he turns out he was like a district manager for ShopGo, and I lived right next to a ShopGo. And he said, hey, I've got a meeting. I'm going to be there next week. I'll drive the thing right to you. $30. If you look on eBay, these in this condition, with that case, go for about 90. If I had enough rep points on eBay to flip it and turn a few bucks, I'd consider it. $90 is a pretty good chunk of cash, but you know, people don't really bid real high if you don't have the rep points built up on eBay, and I don't, so I don't think anybody would give me a significant amount of money for that. Oh, by the way, date 12/98, by the way, and why that's significant is I'm trying to remember the dates, but this was bought a few months before that, I believe, on Craigslist. 12/98. Coleman collector's kind of like that. This is made in the same line, same plant, same month, same year as that other one. And I'm a huge fan of these stoves.